Hi, my name is Serena Aragones, and this is my Math Quarter 2 student-led conference. My goals in general at Rise High are to help all of my students achieve their academic and non-academic goals, to further grow as an educator and a leader, and to become a school superintendent and create a larger impact in the field of education. I think that education is one of the most important ways that we can change our individual lives and also change the community around us. So to create positive change in the field of education is something I am very passionate about. As a math teacher, my goals in my math classes at Rise High are to help my students grow in their mastery and understanding of the RISE competencies, to create engaging and student-centered lesson plans around important math content and skills, and finally, to provide a safe and encouraging environment for students to take ownership of their learning. Essentially, the goal of my math class is just to help every student grow and become have more skills that they can use for their own lives no matter where they end up going, whether in their jobs or family life or if they go on to college, that they can get as much support and learn as much as possible in my math classes. So as the math teacher of the math classes here at Rise APCH, some of the primary competencies I have learned so far are analysis, problem solving, argumentation, connections, precision, and refinement. The content we have covered specifically in Integrated Math 1 are functions and linear functions. For me, my level of mastery is a 4, and I am a Chapter 3 student. The reason I say this is because I have progressed to the highest level of mastery, which is the ability to teach content to others, and I have a very high level of mastery of the skills required in this course. I have taken math courses, I have been trained as an educator, as a math educator, and I believe that I am at a level 4 in all of the content and competencies we have for these courses. So for me, an area of strength would be analysis. So I think this competency is an area of strength because I am able to analyze data from my math courses and use the information to draw conclusions and solve problems. So an example would be last quarter I went over the syllabi with students, but I only did it on one day with a group of students I had at the beginning of the quarter. Because students keep enrolling into RISE throughout the quarter, I wasn't able to have that in-depth analysis of the syllabus with the rest of the students who were new. So what I did this quarter was I made reading the syllabus and taking a quiz for the syllabus a part of the Dream See Do project we're doing in all my math classes. So no matter when you enroll, no matter what level you are at, every single student has to read the math syllabus and take a quiz on it. So this way, everyone has an idea of what my norms and expectations are, everyone knows my contact information, everyone knows the class overview and my requirements and so on. And if they ever need to turn back to it, they can always go back to their math project. So I analyzed the information from last quarter that I wasn't really able to do a good job of covering the syllabus, and I used that information to change my course this quarter to ensure that we do go over the syllabus in all of my courses. So the way I have gained mastery over this subject of analyzing is by analyzing and reflecting on student work samples. And then once I do that, I adapt lesson plans according to student need. Another thing that I have done this quarter is schedule more one-on-one time with students. So quite a few students come in for one-on-one tutoring on the days that I have prep periods, and that has been really valuable because I've noticed that those students have a much more solid level of understanding and mastery because I am helping them individually. I noticed that I did a lot of videos last quarter that students could watch, but because I wasn't actually there, I wasn't able to provide feedback. The videos were not really helpful for the students who still didn't understand the content. So this one-on-one tutoring and making sure I'm doing more whole group lessons for certain classes so that I am present, I am giving feedback, has been helpful for the students this quarter. An example of this is we did not cover function machines last quarter because I was worried it would be too tough to start with right away. But this quarter I have noticed that when I actually sit down with a student and explain this content and give examples and have them do a deeper work analyzing and understanding inputs and outputs and the relationships between inputs and outputs, they have produced some really fantastic high-level mastery explanations. Here are a couple of work samples from students. So even students who struggle with math have given really solid explanations, written, verbal explanations of their understanding of this. And so I think that pushing myself and pushing the students a little bit more this quarter has been really beneficial. So factors which have led to my success in this area of strength are good time management, organizational skills, asking others for help, listening to student voice, and passion for my job. If any student is struggling in this area of analysis, I would make sure to challenge them to keep analyzing past information and using it to drive growth. Once they understand, once a student understands what it is he or she needs to work on, he or she needs to stay committed to that. So if you're working on, you analyze your ability to write, and you notice I'm really bad at grammar. Like I understand the ideas, I understand the concepts fine, but my grammar is really bad. So what I'm gonna do is every week I'm gonna read up on grammar and take a quiz on grammar. If that's what you analyze and decide to do, then you have to stick to that so that you can actually see progress. And you have to stay patient with yourself because it is difficult to create changes. You have to be able to be okay with not seeing a lot of growth right away and continue that analysis and continue that reflection. So that is my area of strength in math. I also have areas that I need to grow on. My area of growth in math has been connections. So I think I've really struggled in applying this for my students because there are a lot of foundational skills they need to work on, and it's harder to connect these foundational skills to their personal experiences as deeply as I would like. I was hoping that I could connect the math content to their personal lives when we start the capstone project. So that's when I really wanted students to be able to take ownership of their learning and apply it to their passions. But most students are not even close to being able to start the capstone project. So that has been a struggle for me in finding ways to connect our lesson plans to student interests. So for example, this is a work sample, a lesson plan from Integrated Math 1, where students have to observe a tile pattern and the growth of that tile pattern. Well, I think this is a really solid math lesson, and I think that it helps students both visualize and analyze algebraically what's going on in a linear relationship. It's not really applicable to things that are going on in their lives. It's just tiles, right? There's nothing here that is really connecting to students. So that is a sample of where I haven't really connected student experience to the math content. So some things that I have tried to do to improve in this area are to use real-world examples during instruction, and also asking students to think of scenarios where the competencies and content they are learning can be applied in their own lives. So for example, when I explain some of these concepts to students, for example, when I explain the concept of a y-intercept or a starting value and linear growth, I put it in terms of purchasing. So most people buy things, students buy items, and they understand the concept of a set price. So for example, a lot of students like to eat chips. So I could say, oh, if a bag of hot Cheetos costs $5, how much would you have to pay for one bag of Cheetos? How much would you have to pay for two bags? And so on and so forth. And that linear relationship between price and amount is something that they can connect with, because it's something that they do in their lives on a regular basis. So I think the ways that I can improve in this area is to make sure that I am asking students about their interests, about their experiences, so that I can create lessons that connect more deeply to their lives. Again, I was hoping to do this at the capstone project, but maybe I need to do it before that and start incorporating these experiences that students have even earlier than the capstone project. So that is my presentation on my area of strength, area of growth in my math classes. And do you have any questions for me? All right, so thank you so much for watching my presentation. This was an example of a student-led conference presentation that I would like for you to create. Obviously, this is something that you will have to customize for yourself, and you're welcome to create the slides any way you want, but we are going to work on making sure you have as much evidence, as much information on your presentation as possible, so that we can create a timeline moving forward that best suits your needs.